30th Street live.
Denver was already passed away.
Okay.
These are this is for the 30th anniversary Easy Rider magazine. And these are 2 bikes I built 30 years apart.
Okay.
And I took them down to L.A. to get them shot for the magazine.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that they did this painting. And right after Dave Mann finished his painting, he passed away.
Wow.
So this is Dave Mann's last painting. And he actually, the editor, Easy Rider, those are watercolor paintings, by the way.
Right.
And they're the size of a magazine. So if you open up a magazine, that's the size of the actual painting. And they slipped it out the back door and gave it to me. So I've got Dave Mann's last painting, which is...
You have the original?
I got the original.
Oh, my gosh. You know how much that thing's worth now?
A couple $100,000. I've got it insured and I've got it put away safely. But and so the red bike on the right, I ended up giving that to Easy Rider magazine as a gift. I felt so strongly about them. You know, growing up as a kid, you read an Easy Rider magazine and you actually wallpaper your garage.
Oh, all the girls, man.
With all the Dave Mann paintings, and I had my garage wallpapered, and I just thought, and very seldom did Dave Mann ever paint real people.
Yeah.
You know, that's me on the right, but Dave Mann, it was mostly just, out of his head, but he painted a lot of our style bikes.
Yeah.
With the long front ends, the Hollywood run coming over the hill with the long bikes, and different one that I think the Tijuana run, one of the first ones when he was painting for Ed Roth.
Right.
So a lot of history there, and
both pans, right?
Yeah, both pans. Here's another thing. All of Denver's bikes were pearl orange with purple flames.
Love that.
And so I built that bike to mimic one of Denver's bikes, and I just finished another one that I did like that, a Denver bike with a shovel head, because that was his last bike. And it's in my shop. I built 2 bikes in memory of him, and they could actually be sitting out in front of our shop 50 years ago. I did all the frame molding on them, everything just like we used to in the old days.
Yeah.
And so those so I've got those bikes, and they're cover bikes as well. Both of them that I built in memory of Denver. One on the cover of Easy Rider, and one went on the cover of Cycle Source magazine.
Wow, man.
But I was also on the 30th anniversary. That was for the 30th anniversary T-shirts for Easy Rider magazine.
Yep.
Was that painting? So that means the world to me. You know, being a young kid, growing up, seeing these and just dreaming about it and hanging them on the wall. And here I come along in life, and there it is. It's it's one of the biggest honors that I have. And then another big honor I had at the Dave Mann Chopper Fest in Ventura.
Yep.
They gave out the Dave Mann Mankind Award.
Right.
And it was the first time it was given out, and they called me up on stage, and I was the first recipient of the Dave Mann Mankind Award. And that's for a person that's lived the lifestyle of Dave Mann with the bikes and the history and everything else. So I got a beautiful painting of some bikes running down the road, and I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it, but it says Dave Mann Mankind Award, and it was awarded to me. So and the following year, Sugar Bear got one the following year. But so those are big things that have happened to me in my life and career.
Those are just some of the few things, you know?
Some of the few things. Yeah. Oh, my God. I got so many things. You know, the Hall of Fame, and then Sturgis Hall of Fame, and then I'm Worldwide Hall of Fame, and I put on 3 bike shows in Dubai. I put on shows in Italy. I travel around the country.
Yeah.
I put on several shows in Sturgis.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what here's the thing I love about you, man, is I got this little bike show in my backyard, you know? And it's something, go ahead. It's probably my, it's just something I like to see all the styles. Here's the other thing too. We'll get into this. I love the metric choppers. You know what I mean?
I've got one.
Yeah. And I mean, you've built Honda choppers.
We built the Hondas and the Kawasaki's.
Yeah,
and
they're badass.
We did those from the mid-'70s up to early '80s.
So
I've got one sitting, all restored, sitting in my showroom.
Yep.
With the Cowie. Those are the first, what I call the first real rice rockets. Yep. And they were deadly fast.
So I don't know if I would use the word stigma, but today the chopper scene is like you get kind of a hard time if you're
Right.
running metric now,
But see, the
but
thing,
back then it wasn't that, right?
it wasn't that. And,
Yeah.
and the thing is, guys would give us a bad time about having them and stuff. And then would say, well, you want to race?
Right.
You want to, they said, we got our Harleys, so don't sell us out. We got Harleys.
Yeah.
But we like riding these too because they're so fast.
They're also so cool to work on.
And they're such sleek looking motorcycles.
The only disconnect for me is like those carburetors suck, don't they?
The four carburetors.
The 4-barrel carbs,
the four single carburetors on there
is a nightmare.
Yeah, you get them tuned. They got a little deal you put on them and tune them all. But those things, you start them up, they sound like a Ferrari.
Oh man,
They got that round, just instant horsepower.
Well, there was a guy that had he won the metric class at my show last year. He was the guy you brought with you this last time. He's had some beautiful bikes.
Gerald.
Gerald,
yeah.
wow.
Right
Cowie, right?
Right hand, man. Yeah.
That Cowie's badass.
The yellow one?
The yellow one.
That's the one I'm talking about.
That one's beautiful.
That's an original. And we did everything on those. The only thing we didn't do is we used to buy the motors at the police auctions.
Yeah.
And they had Cowies. But the whole frame, everything you see on that bike was all manufactured by us. You got to remember, when we started in business, you couldn't pick up a catalog and order parts because nobody was making the parts. So we, out of necessity, started building parts. And it's crazy how it started because we were building parts, but it for ourselves. The first thing. Well, am I getting into you?
We're good. We can go in any order you want, man. There's no.
Are we filming right now?
Oh, we're going. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're
Then
good.
I'll keep. I thought I was.
Yeah, you keep going.
I just thought I was rattling on.
No. You're good.
Well, let me give you some background and tell you a little bit about Denver Choppers.
Yeah.
And Denver Mullins.
Yeah.
Who was the innovator and the guy that started Denver Choppers.
Yeah.
It used to be a custom car shop.
Right.
And what he did, he was out of Fontana, California. What he did is he used to chop top on cars and build show cars, and he did the custom paint, and he did the back when they had the hydraulics or real hydraulics, they took out airplanes for the, make them go up and down. So he was winning all kinds of awards for his paint work and his cars. But then he got interested in motorcycles, so he bought an old Panhead and he customized it something like this and.
This was Mullins.
Yeah. And
so he was kind of the first in your crew.
He was the first one. He stretched the frame and he built the front end and built the pipes, the sissy bar, and it just took off from there. And then the rest of us started getting bikes, the whole crew, and everybody started coming by us. Hey, would like one of those, or a frame, or a front end, or this or that. And
so he was kind of your mentor.
Yeah. I was in high school and I started hanging out there.
Yeah.
And got my bike, but he was doing the cars and the bike thing. People were coming by from all over Southern California. We want this, we want that, because they seen our bikes. Yep. We'd cruise to Hollywood, we'd be all in the mountains, we'd be all over.
Yeah.
So they it got to be a business. Yeah. So Denver opened a shop in '67 with just a chopper shop.
Reno, it's going down. The 6th annual Biggest Little Bike Show, May 16th at Slabsides. This ain't just a show. This is performance baggers, choppers, club style, all lined up. $20 to enter your bike, free for everyone else. Sign-ups start at 10 a.m. Show kicks off at noon. Food trucks, music, trophies, giveaways, cars, lowriders, trucks, the whole scene shows up. Sparks, Nevada. Don't miss it. The Biggest Little Bike Show.
What street was it on?
That was on Baseline Avenue in San Bernardino.
Yeah.
And it was right behind our shop is where the Bogos motorcycles started. Their first clubhouse was almost the same time. A couple of years earlier, they started the Bogos. And there was another bike club, a Mexican bike club called the Psychos out of Redlands. And they, the Bogos, some of the guys dropped off from the Psychos and started the Bogos. Oh. Now, the Psychos are still around. It's the next 1 or 2 generations away now. But they all rode Denver bikes, the whole club.
Wow.
And I just got one and restored it here a couple of years ago, and it went on the cover of Easy Rider magazine. but it was one of our original builds that I worked on, molded the frame 50 years ago.
Wow.
The guy passed away 48 years ago. It's set in a garage, and all the parts got taken off.
What would he need to do to pull that up? What would he type in?
A cover Easy Rider, and it would be a white bike. What year? Oh my God, probably 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
Knuckle?
No, it's a white panhead.
White pan, Easy Rider magazine, Denver Choppers. Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah, so I just restored that one, and it was all engraved and everything. So what we did is we restored the bike.
Is it that one?
No, that's Louis.
Oh, that is Louis, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So it would have been 2024, John. 2024.
There I am on the bottom there.
Yeah, you are.
What am I doing there?
That's in San Francisco, isn't it?
Oh, it could be.
Yeah.
Looks like
There's some of them. We'll find it. No, I'm curious what that bike looks like.
Oh, it was all engraved. Well, anyway, that guy died 48 years ago. There it is. I think go down. The other way.
Go up.
Up. That one with the blue cover. That one right there.
Cool. Wow.
So that bike, I actually molded the frame. The frame molding was really big back then. So I did all the frame molding. It was all engraved. And so they brought it to me. It didn't have a front end. Everything was just tattered and torn. And the club brought it to me, and I did 100% restoration. It has a lot of engraving on it. I don't know if you can go to the pictures inside or not, but
wow,
that
girl's life must be so hard being so bad looking. You know.
So that bike got shot in.
No, you're good, John.
I believe we shot that bike in San Francisco at one of the club members there is a photographer. We shot it in his studio.
Wow.
And what are you doing? Okay, so the backstory on that white bike, it belonged to one of the Psycho club members who passed away.
Yeah.
And the second generation of the club brought it to me and had me restore it.
Yeah.
And they had me do the restoration on it. And then they took it, and the new owner of it was also one of the club members. They took it to his grave site, and they had a memorial run, and they had put the bike on, right in front of his grave.
Yeah.
And his daughter came to the memorial, and she was only about 1 or 2 years old when he passed. So she really didn't know any of the history or know about the bike or anything. So they took her there and made a big deal about her and the motorcycle and her dad.
Wow.
And honored him. So that bike, to me, that meant a lot when they brought it to me, and me working on it all those years ago, and then being able to restore it right back to where it was.
Yeah.
And I took pictures of the paint, and so I could get the paint exactly right and just like it was. And so that was a fun build.
So Denver passed away around 92.
Denver. Well, let me get back to him a little bit.
Yeah.
So we started the shop.
Yeah.
And we started building motorcycles. Before you know it, the shop we were in, we outgrew it. So we went down to E Street in San Bernardino and got a bigger shop. And we had probably about 20 guys working there. But we had our own upholstery, our paint. We had our own chrome shop. We had a frame shop. We had the molding, which I did. I was Mondo, so I did all the molding on the bikes, which is a big deal back then.
Yeah.
And so everybody had a job, and Denver was just the guy that had the vision for the bikes. I mean, he was unbelievable. And just a quick note to that is I'm still building the same style bikes with the same machines that we had back then.
No way.
Yep. The shop's got a lot of the same machines in it, and the anvil and the hammers and stuff. We still build those bikes that I'm doing today with the old-fashioned way, the way I was taught, and the way I figured out how to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so we went from the shop with 20 guys, and then the shop just progressed, and then it went around the world. Of course, we talked about the bike club in Stockholm, Sweden, Denver Choppers. I mean, our name just went worldwide, and all the magazines and stuff. And being from Southern California. That's where a lot of the magazines were coming from. Street Chopper magazine, Hot Bike, all those, Easy Rider. They're all Southern California magazines.
And concurrently, the whole club scene is coming out of Southern California.
And then, the Hell's Angels started in San Bernardino, Purdue. Right. That's where I'm from.
Right.
So I grew up knowing all those guys, and I knew all the Psychos. That I knew all the original Vagos.
Yeah.
We used to work on them. We party with all these clubs, and got to know everybody really well. So we were really tied in with all the motorcycle runs, the runs to Coachella, to the pit run every year, where all the clubs got together and we roasted a cow and just had a blast. It was a lot of fun back then. You got to remember back then that only bikers were riding choppers or riding bikes. There wasn't your weekend biker, per se, like you have now.
I wanted to talk. Yeah. So what's funny is a lot of my guys, we build choppers, and that's the question they all wanted me to ask you, is what you thought about that.
Well, let me tell you about the past first. Yeah. So our group of guys that we rode with and stuff, that would pretty much be all the guys in the shop had bikes. And every weekend we'd take a ride, go somewhere, either go up to the mountains, Lake Arrowhead, Big Bear Lake, Crestline, where all the ones out of San Bernardino up in the mountains there. We'd take a run up there for the weekend. And here's the way it worked. It was really cool. A friend of ours, Butch Ariza, was a guy that the bikes actually got assembled at his garage. And everybody used to hang out there. And that's where we would meet to take off for the runs. And so here's how you went. You took a toothbrush cut in half, stuck it in your back pocket, extra T-shirt, maybe an extra pair of underwear, and your jacket, your leather jacket. And that was about all you told. A sleeping bag, you'd tie that onto the bike. There's our old shop. That's the original shop, Denver Chopper shop. And that's Freddie's bike, but that was the original shop. And there was a burrito stand right next door. I loved it. So that was our fun deal.
Wow.
But anyway, we're going on the runs, and everybody would kick in. Nobody would get left behind. Now, somebody's bike wasn't running. We wouldn't leave till that bike was running, because we could put a bike together in a day or two, So if somebody's, broken parts or this, that, and the other, we'd all get together the night before and get that bike running so that guy wouldn't miss out. And then would take whatever money you had, $5, $10, you'd throw it into a pot. All the money went together. The first thing we did was we bought all our beer, because we had a chase truck. Back then you had a chase truck to carry all the beer in the pot and stuff in the dog. And so we had, guys would volunteer to drive the chase truck. And whatever money we had left, we bought bologna and bread or whatever. But you could go for a whole weekend and have fun with $20. $10, $20. It all got thrown in. Nobody got left behind because of money.
Yeah.
And we'd ride to the Colorado River and Parker, Arizona. We had a trailer on the river, and that's how we got into the boats, the fast boats. I got one. Denver got one. We're fast lake boats, and then,
that's happening right now.
Yeah. And so along with doing all the bikes, Denver and I got into drag boat racing, professional drag boat racing.
Yeah.
And so we had the Curtis Hydros, the top of the line. We actually started a drag boat shop and building the boats and designed and built the capsules with the F-16 windshields that the racers do today. That's all our stuff.
Where was that boat shop? Was that in Havasu, or was that?
No, our boat shop was in San Bernardino
as well. Cool.
Yeah, and then through the years, in the late 80s is when we really got into the drag boat racing, Denver and I.
Yeah.
And we kept moving up in the classes, and we eventually, we had a gas boat, we had an alcohol hydro, and we had a top fuel. And we were running 3 boats, and Denver and I were funding it all. And it was like $30,000 a weekend each for us to race, because we had to buy all the crews. We had to pay for all their rooms, all their meals, and all their drinks, and that got expensive. Yeah. So that was a fun time for Denver and I. Was the drag, but we had the big semi trucks, and we did all that. We traveled down to Texas. We went back east. We went all over to California.
Yeah,
racing to Arizona, and in October 4th, 1992. is when Denver got killed in his boat. And we had talked about it. We were flying to Texas one time. We already sent the drag boats ahead with the trucks and trailers. We were going down to, I think, Marble Falls and out of Austin, Texas. We're going down to race. And Denver and I are sitting on the plane, and he goes, I want you to make me a promise. And I go, yeah, what's that? He goes, anything happens to me, if I get killed, I want you to keep the shop going.
Wow.
And I said, well, that's bullshit. Nothing, don't even think about that. That's never going to happen. And he says, no, you got to promise me. Okay, Denver, I promise I'll keep the shop going if anything happens to you. And I says, you do the same for me, to take care of my family and stuff. And so that was a handshake deal we had. So the day he got killed, it was real funny because it was almost like he had a premonition. His wife would always go to the drag races with him, and that day she wouldn't go with us. And he had barbecued a big dinner the night before, chicken, steaks, everything, because he loved to barbecue. He made a great big dinner for me. And him and I had this great big dinner, and his wife. And then the next morning we got up to, we go to the shop first and get some things out of the shop. Our drag boats were already at the racetrack in Pomona, California, at Pudding Stone Lake. So we took and went to the shop, and Denver was really nervous. I kind of, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
So we left the shop, and we were headed towards, and about 10 miles out, he goes, I didn't lock the shop. And, he was throwing up, and he just, something was going on in his head. So we had to turn around, run back, lock the shop. We went to the races. We did racing all day long, and it was getting towards the evening, and I had a display trailer that we got from Richard Petty, and it had doors that opened up. It was kind of a display trailer where we had our capsules in there and our display drag boats. It was kind of like a traveling speed shop that we'd take with us to the drag boat races so guys could buy parts from us. But anyway, all the racers would sign underneath the door. They'd put Nasty Habit Boat 405, and then they'd sign their name. And I had names from all over the country, and Denver would never sign that door. And so I was standing over there, and they just fired up the top fuel boat, and I knew he was getting ready to go out. And he came over and he goes, give me that pin. And he took the pin and he signed my door. Denver's a Public Enemy 919 was the name of his boat.
Wow.
And Denver Mullins, he handed me the pin. He goes, now you happy? And I says, yeah, thank you, Denver. I appreciate that. And he says, well, I got to go race. And it was funny because, at the same time he did that, he brought a guy over to the trailer for me to meet. He goes, and he had crashed a top fuel boat 6 months ahead of time in Bakersfield. So he came to me and he goes, this is our new shoe. It's going to be our hired driver. We're going to put him in the fuel boat, and you and I are going to go funny car racing. And we had already bought the Tinker Toy funny car from Art Hindi and Worsham. So we bought the top fuel funny car, and he says, you're going to get your license, and we're going to still drag boat race, but I'm going to have a driver for the fuel boat, and I want you to drive the funny car. I says, cool. I'm up for that. Let's do that. And we had already bought the whole semi, the whole. In fact, the motor that was in the top fuel boat when he got killed was out of our funny car.
Wow.
And so I said, cool. And I met the guy, and I knew who he was. He's a pretty good driver. So Denver says, yeah, I'm not having fun doing this anymore. I want to put a guy in the boat. Let's go car racing. I says, cool. So he went out, and he of course, he crashed the boat, and it went down underwater, and the capsule, you have an oxygen mask that we have for, that you wear underneath the capsule with the F-16 windshield, all that. Yeah. So you got that oxygen mask on, and the divers potentially, they get down to you, they open the capsule lid and take you out, and usually you're okay because the capsule just saved your life. Well, Denver panicked because he had crashed 6 months before, and I didn't know it, but he had claustrophobia, Linda told me. He didn't like being in the capsule. So he even told the rescue crew when he was going in the water, he says, if I crash, don't look for me inside the capsule or in the boat. He says, I'm gonna get out of there. And so that's what he did. He crashed. The boat started going down. He took his oxygen mask off, opened the capsule lid to swim out, and the boat caught him halfway in and halfway out, and he drowned. It took him 13 minutes to get him up.
Oh, my gosh.
And so, of course, that was a horrible thing.
Scroll down a little bit, John, so we can see Denver.
And so there's
There he
Denver.
is.
Yeah. And so that's a story behind what happened there. And I went back to, after it was a mess, I went with him to the hospital, and I kept telling him to wake up, shaking him and stuff. And I'm sure other people, I'm sure you've had friends that go through this, but I was, all right, Denver, stop messing around. Wake up. This is not funny. And, I was in a kind of a shock and a daze with my best friend. So the nurse finally came into me and she gave me some Scotch tape, and she goes, here, close his eyes and put the tape on his eyes. So I did that, and it was that night, that whole week or two was just unbelievable. So we went to the hospital, and I said, well, I know what I got to do. I got to take charge. I got all these guys running around crying, and I got people, picking up all three boats and taking them back to the shop, and picked up the crash boat. And so we all met back at the shop about midnight because it took that long to get over there. And I had sent two guys from the racetrack. I says, go see Denver's wife, Linda, and tell her what happened. And so I sent the two guys over there, and they knocked on the door, and she opened the door, and she goes, he's dead, isn't he? And they go, well, how did you know? And she goes, I knew this morning when he left that there was something wrong.
Oh, my gosh.
And so then I finally, after we took everything to the shop, everybody was at the shop, people just coming all over at the shop. It's midnight. The shop was full of people. And, the word got out. And so I went over to see Linda, and she goes, you know what you got to do? And I go, yeah. She goes, yeah, you made him a promise. My dad's going to handle the lawyer, and you're buying the shop, and you're taking over. And I go, okay. So we had the drag boat shop and the motorcycle shop, and then we had a chrome shop, another building, and then we had a transmission shop.
Yeah.
So I says, well, I'll take the bike shop and the boat shop, and you guys can settle up with the chrome shop and everything. They'll still do our chrome and stuff. But so that was a long night, and then the next day, and then we had to start preparing for the funeral and stuff. And so we got together and decided we're going to bury him here, and this, that, and the other. So where a lot of the other guys are buried. So it was over in Riverside. So we had a bike procession that we followed the hearse, and first thing behind the hearse was a duplicate of Denver's drag boat. We towed it right behind the hearse. Behind that, we had his hot rod because he was in the over the hill gang. And then there was me leading all the motorcycles. And I mean, there was, I don't know how many different bike clubs showed up and everything else. And,
What were you on that day?
I was riding Denver's Kawasaki 4-cylinder orange.
Wow.
And I thought, well, it's appropriate, that I ride his bike. And it was funny because in October, he just made the cover of another magazine. In fact, I got it at the shop. His orange bike with purple flames, like I said, just came out in the magazine.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. I think he saw that magazine because it usually come out a month before. But that guy, there was a guy that bought that. He wrote it, so we put the two bikes right by his coffin when we got to the graveyard site. And we did the memorial, and I did it. And I stayed up all the night before writing all these notes and stuff. And I remember getting up, and there's people, hundreds of people, just all walks of life, the over-the-hill gang, all the drag boat racers were there, all the bikers were there. I mean, it was quite a deal. So I just started looking around. I had this notes, and I just took them, folded them back up, put them in my pocket, and I go, let's talk about Denver, what he meant to each one of us. And I knew stories from everybody in the crowd. Mostly, everybody had a really great story about Denver. So we talked about. I'd say, "Hey, Butch, remember when he did this and he did that?" And they'd start laughing and they'd tell the story. And I went around talking to people, just talking about life and talking about this. And I'd address Linda and I said, "Do you remember he did this?" We used to go to the drag boat races in Denver. He even had bell bottoms drag boat racing uniform because he always wore bell bottoms. He never stopped. But he would take them, and underneath his mattress, he'd lift the mattress because I used to stay in the same room with him a lot of time. He'd lift the mattress and he'd lay his pants out and put the mattress back down on him. He says,
Keep them flat.
He says they'll have a perfect crease in the morning, and that's what, because he always had to be looking good. So, and then he'd brand new T-shirt out of the package. He had nothing else but a brand new T-shirt. So, anyway. I was telling that story. I said, "You remember that, Linda?" And she goes, "Yeah, that's an old jailhouse trick when he is in jail." So,
there you go.
Yeah, so that was what they do in jail. That's how they iron their clothes. So
Keep them flat.
So we were telling stories like that and went on and ended up, I had people joking and laughing and stuff. And it was just, I went on for about over an hour. And then we just then after that, we had this tearjerker. We had a line of people that want to come through, and Linda's standing there, shaking everybody's hand, coming by, paying their condolences to her and stuff. And I was standing next to her, and this kid come by, and I remember this kid. We were at the drag boat races, and I remember big kid, heavy-set kid, and he was standing back in the back by himself. And Denver looked around, he saw him. He says, come here. And the guy, he brought him through the crowd, and he says, "Here, you stand up here with me. Who are you?" And what? They start talking. Denver gave him a shirt and says, "Put this shirt on. You're with me now." And that's just the way he was. He was always about people, and especially people that were downtrodden or had a tough life. Because I think Denver and his brother were raised in orphanages and stuff like that. So
gave this kid a try.
He had a soft heart. So yeah. So we're standing in line at the funeral, and this guy comes up, and he goes, "I only met Denver one time," and he was crying. He goes, "But he took me in. He called me his brother, and he said, you're with me, and you hang out in the pits with me. You don't stand on that side of the ropes. You're standing over here with me." And he just took the kid in. Well, that kid was at the funeral, and he walked up, and I remembered him, so I introduced him to Linda, and he told her the story, and she just nodded her head and goes, "Yeah, that's my husband." And he was always like that, and that was that meant the world to me, that he was like that. And a couple other little things that he used to do is like at the drag boat races, every drag boat team had their own racing T-shirt. Well, Denver would get all their little kids that come by with their T-shirts on. He says, "Come here." He'd take that T-shirt off and put a little Denver shirt on them and send them back to their pits. And their dads would go out and shake their hands, "Hey, I got my," but all the kids, they wanted to hang out there because all our boats are black with skull and crossbones, and we ran the skull and crossbone flags, and we had the choppers out in front of the drag boats. And so all the kids liked to hang out there. And the girls did too, because we had one of the trailers had a lounge in it, and they always had cocktails in there. Wow! So all the girls would sneak over there and have cocktails. So we had a ball during all this time, and I'm sorry to go on and on about it.
No,
but
you can go on and on all you meant. Hey, listen,
I'm just trying to paint the picture of the man himself that was loved by so many people. I mean, at the funeral, there was grandmas there was bikers, there were hot rodders, there were drag boat people. I mean, he had a massive following.
This isn't a story about crime. It's a story about what happens when the railroad becomes something else. Critics are raving about Green's new novel, a gripping blend of reality and fiction. Written by Jacob Green, inspired by real life on the railroad and in the outlaw motorcycle world. A secret network of hitmen, contracts hidden inside of steel spikes, and an underground world as old as the rail itself. Couldn't put it down, never lost interest, a story you don't see coming. The Rail Runner, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Are you seeing this? Imagine your business featured right here on 4th Street Live. With millions of impressions and a fast-growing audience, this isn't just exposure, it's momentum. Want this spot? Text 775-470-9451.
And also what happened during that time is KTLA TV out of Los Angeles came to our shop because they heard about this because it made the AP wire service. It went around the world, Denver's dead. And so he came and started filming there at the shop, you know, all the reaction from all the people talking to people. And, you know, he's going to do the newscast in LA about all this. Well, that guy came back on his own time and he filmed for 3 days. And he filmed the funeral. He filmed inside the shop, outside the shop, you know, everything that's going on. And he made, back then there were videotapes, or I guess so he gave that to me. He says, this is all the tape of everything that went on these last few days. And I've still got that, and I've never watched it. I just couldn't bring myself to watch it, but I have it. And it was just, it was tough. We had out in front of the shop, there was a great big wood monument sign that said Denver Choppers on it. Bikers were coming by, and they'd sit down and Denver drink Jack Daniels. They'd take a couple hits out of their Jack Daniels bottle and set it in front of the sign and ride off. It was unbelievable what went on for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Of course, then I had baptism by fire because I had to jump in and take over all the shops and all these guys that I've known all my life. You know, now I had to make the payroll and I had to keep things going, honor all the things, the bikes that weren't finished, the boats that weren't finished. I made a checklist. I made a flow chart, and I put it on the wall in his office. And I went right down that list. Anybody that was owed money, I paid him off. Anybody that had this guy needs a bike built, this guy needs a front end, this guy needs a capsule for his boat. So I went down that list. It took me about a year to get through the whole list. And I did it. In fact, I still got the list at my shop. I kept it. And so that was all part of the transition as well, was handling all the business and the big shoes that I had to fill. And Denver had the front of like a 60 Cadillac that was made into a desk. I mean, it was painted white, had the chrome bumpers, everything, front end off a Cadillac. The lights worked, the horn worked, and everything. And somebody had built that for him and gave it to him as a gift. And so I inherited that desk. And I says, I went and got the guy that built it. I says, please take it out of here. I don't deserve to sit behind this desk. This is Denver's desk. It's not me. And so got rid of that and a couple other things that I felt that I don't fit those shoes. I don't deserve this, so I'm not going to take it. So I just had to go out and just do it on my own the way I thought Denver would want it done, and continue building the bikes the way Denver did them and the lifestyle and everything. So I tried to keep everything the same as it was, and I have for the last 35 years. You know, I've had the shop longer than he's had it.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to make all the transition. So I told the guys, I'm leaving. I don't like San Bernardino. I'm leaving out of here. And I said, do you guys want to go with me? And they go, no, we're not going. We're all staying here. I said, okay. And I said, do you guys want the bike shop? I'll give it to you. They said, no, we're going to go out and do our own thing. And I said, okay, then I'll take Denver Choppers with me. And
what year was that?
That was 2000.
Did you move to Vegas?
Yep.
Wow.
1999 or 2000. And I opened up the shop there by myself.
So was the build off with Larry? What year was that?
That was 2004.
So you were in Vegas when the build off happened.
Yeah, that was in the. And if so, I went and opened the shop, but then I had to teach myself how to do all the other disciplines of building a motorcycle. Before we had 20 guys and everybody did their own thing, so I had to do everybody's job.
Yeah.
And so it was tough, but I did it and went on to be pretty successful at it, at building choppers and parts and everything, and have had a good life off this shop.
Yeah.
But the main thing that I've done, and if you ever read any articles or you see me anywhere, I always talk about Denver. I give him all the glory. He's the man. I'm just the guy that's carrying the torch.
He is the man, Mondo, but you're also the man, bro. You know what I mean? You're the legend here in Nevada too, and we love what he built, man. But we also you gotta take some credit, man.
Well-
Even if I gotta make you, but you're
The thing is,
You know, you've done some.
I got to see
amazing
him again
things.
one of these days, and
Yeah.
and when I do, I want him to say, "Good job,
Good job,
and
yeah.
and that's all the glory to him, and all this is to keep his name alive. And mostly the reason I do it, and I got goosebumps. You can't see them, but mostly the reason that I do this because I want the young guys to know the history, where all this started, where the long bikes like we're looking at right there,
Yeah.
where they came from, and the ideas and the people behind it. Because we set a precedent, and we're the guys that went through as real bikers doing this. We
Yeah.
weren't weekend guys. I mean, we lived the lifestyle, and we took the hard knocks and the fights and everything else, the barroom brawls and all that stuff that bikers did back
Well,
then.
that's what I want to let everybody that's listening to understand is that you are directly responsible for the culture that I'm living in. Over
Southern
70 years.
California, and then you got to remember, Northern California had their own thing going too.
Right.
That they were more the cafe racer type bikes. They are the hot rod bikes.
Yeah.
Back east had their thing going in the Midwest.
Midwest.
And back then, the only thing that brought people together were the magazines. That's how the East Coast guys got to see West Coast
Coast
bikes.
stuff, yeah.
is the magazines. There was no TV
I
going on.
I honestly love the styles from different geographical locations. I think that's super cool.
I can tell a bike where it comes from just by looking.
Yeah.
I can tell you what area of the country it comes from.
I know the big wheels from the
Yeah.
it's like I know where the big wheels are at,
and it's kind of fun. I do put on bike shows all over the country, and it's kind of fun meeting people from all over. And I like all the gray-haired guys because we sit down and talk about the old days. I love that. And then I love talking to the young guys.
Yeah.
And I make them all promise, you're going to keep this thing of ours alive when I'm gone.
Yeah.
Well, promise me. I promise you we're going to ride choppers and keep this thing going. I'm looking at you too.
Yeah.
And that's important to me that our legacy carries on. You got to remember that when we started, we didn't have anybody to look up to. When we started, there was the guys that out of the World War II that did the bobbers and stuff like that. But we didn't have chopper guys ahead of us. So we set our own mark and made our own rules for our lifestyle and everything else, and pretty much have stuck to the code.
So I got to tell you now, this is a perfect time to tell you this. We met for the first time when I was 16 years old at Street Vibrations.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I came up to you and you were out there talking to everybody. I didn't know anything. I didn't know about motorcycles. I hadn't been in motorcycles yet. I got into motorcycles because of Street Vibrations, right? That's where I caught the bug, right? And I went up to you. It was a red bike. I can't remember what the bike was. And I remember coming up to you. And
It was that one right there. Go right there. That red and silver one probably. On the right.
on the right there with the stretch.
Yeah, the
all
stretch
the way over,
front
John.
end.
Right, that.
That one.
It was that one. It was that. And what is that? Is a Evo, right?
It's an Evo, and the oil
Okay.
the oil tank.
That was the one.
The oil tank is inside the rear fender.
Yeah.
The rear fender is the oil
So,
tank.
so here's, and I knew it was an Evo because I came up to you, and I had just gotten into, I had a 636. I had a 250 Ninja, and I came up to you, and I said, "Hey, is that a Sportster?" And you shook your head at me, and you said, "You need to learn your bikes, kid." And I was 16. That's what you said to me. This is the first time we ever met, and that resonated with me from the now.
Yeah.
And I've never told you this, but that's exactly what happened. That was the bike. It was sitting right out front, right on Virginia, I believe.
Yeah. I had a doctor out of Malibu come and buy 3 bikes for me.
Yeah.
And that was one of them.
There you go.
And this one down here with the girl right behind me, if you want to pull that one up. On there. No, the other one.
That's the pan.
That one. That's the cover Easy Rider magazine. I can't remember the year. But that's Katie, Playboy Playmate of the Year.
Yeah, she is.
When we did that bike, and that was my tractor bike. Every bike starts with an idea. I said, let's build a bike with a tractor seat
What's
on
the
it.
shift on that? Is that suicide shift too?
Yeah, Suicide on the other side.
Go to the ugly side, brother.
I don't know if they got one of there, but anyway, I had to spend all day
It would
with
be
her.
one over, John. One over to your right. One more. That one. There you go. Oh, close primary. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I had to spend all day with her. It was tough.
Yeah, so it's miserable.
But here's let me enlighten some of you guys about when you go to photo shoots. They shoot the bikes. They have a white background. They usually run paper and they roll it at the corners so you don't have any corners. They roll the backing and then it's all white paper. So you've got to take your shoes off and you got to tiptoe out. And if every time you move the bike, you got to lift the bike, put paper underneath it and drag it.
Yeah.
So you don't get tire marks on the paper. And then when they're shooting the bikes, for the photography, they want them straight up and down. So they usually put a little block of white, little block under the kickstand. So now the bike's standing straight up and down. You got a girl straddling it all different ways.
Yeah. So
you're standing right outside, ready to jump in and save the motorcycle if she starts to tip it over.
Yep.
So you're doing that for 8 hours. I mean, especially if I go and I shoot a couple bikes for the magazine, you're there, all day long and going through the models, and they got to get their hair done between every take, and you got to move the bike. Now you got to get in there with your socks on and go in there and wipe all the fingerprints off it because all that shows up. So those photo shoots are a lot of work. They're just not, everybody said, wow, you get to hang out with penthouse pets all day and play. It's not like that. By the end of the day, you go, get out of here. I'm done. I'm tired.
That's a pretty one.
And the bike survived, but that was a crazy one for that.
I've been doing a lot.
In fact, at my shop right now, I'm building another one similar to that.
Yeah.
It's full fendered like that, but it's got a glide front end and it's got white flames. So it's red and white.
I've been doing a lot of photography, Mondo, and
just getting into bikes because of us,
I understand how annoying.
Yeah, he's learning
the hair change and the clothes change become.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
The close calls. Yeah, you're a nervous wreck. And then down here, you can see the Easy Rider bikes. Do you see that one down there?
The American flag one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Captain America bike.
There it is.
Now I'm building replicas of those bikes right now. I've got a couple of them at the shop right now that I'm finishing up, and I'm just getting ready to start a Billy bike next week.
Well, let me ask you something. Are you a purist in the way where you won't work on an S&S pan? You need an original.
No,
pan?
I use all original pan heads.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know how it got by, but this one, the guy wanted a front brake on it.
Okay, so that's where I was going with you.
So that one has a front because he demanded it.
But you won't do it, huh?
When they're paying that big money, but I build them exactly, and then if they want changes, then we'll add it after the fact.
How do you like the new thing that guys are doing with the dual caliper in the rear? Have you seen that?
I've got one at the shop right now.
I like that.
The front brake is actually on the second caliper.
Right.
Yeah, I've got one at the shop. I'd like
great.
you to come by and look at
Okay.
it. It's getting ready to leave, and I've got that set up. I mean,
I think it's fun.
If you think about it, most everything has been done.
Right.
Well,
now guys are doing what you did, and that's because maybe we'll start.
That was a cover bike.
That's a badass bike.
And what's funny about this, he's a Hell's Angel, and I built him a green bike.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And then this bottom one down here, look at here, that one right there.
I like the drag bars on that.
No, that's that. Where that bike ended up in Bill Clinton Library. They did
the Bill Clinton.
Yes.
Oh shit.
That was in the Bill Clinton Library. In fact, they sent me the book.
Wow.
They had that featured there.
Wow.
And then we go down. I'll pick anyone and I'll talk to you about.
Yeah, we'll talk. That's a badass bike.
Now that bike I built.
The cast wheels. Did you do those wheels?
No. Here's a story. Every bike's got a story. Those wheels came off of Jesse James's. If you look at the green bike down here on the cover, they came off.
Jesse James there.
Look at it. Pull that one up and look at it.
Right to the
next one over. That one.
That's Jesse James there.
There's the wheels right there.
There they are.
It was his first cover bike, and I called him. I says, Jesse, I want the wheels off that bike. He took them off and sent them to me as a gift. And then you look back at the red bike. The wheels are on that red bike.
Yeah.
And there they are. So we all know each other real well. Billy, all the guys, we all know each other. So I built all the front ends for Jesse James's Chopper for Life. So I built his front ends. I built front ends for Orange County Choppers. So I did them for Billy Lane.
Well,
that bike went to Japan.
I've
seen that.
I have a question for you, Mondo.
Yeah.
What was it like? Where were you? How did it happen? What was it got you into a shop? How'd you meet Denver? And
what was your first bike?
Well,
let me
let me go back to when I was a kid. I I was a young kid in the 50s, and I went down to the corner market. That's when they had the little mom and pop stores. And I went in there. You take your Coke bottles in, trade them in, so you could buy bubble gum and stuff. So I was down there making a run. And I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. And a group of bikes pulled right up in front of that place. They were all black bikes, and the guys got off the bikes. Their women were all black, dressed in black leather and stuff. And the name of the club was called the Road Rebels.
Okay.
And I sit there and stared at them. I says, that's what I want to do. That's it. And it never left my mind. That's what I want to be. I want that. So then I started building cars in high school. I did my first frame-off car when I was 13 years old. I built my first car.
What was it?
It was a 29 Model A.
There you go.
And so I was trying to learn how to do body work and stuff, and I was painting too. And so I started going down and hanging out at Denver's shop because I knew he's a famous painter. And he tried to run me off, and I wouldn't go. And I'd pick up a broom, and I'd sweep, and I'd do errands. I'd do whatever it took to hang around. And finally, he took a liking to me and started showing me how to do body work and paint and everything. That's before we got into the bikes. But that's the backstory on that.
And what was your first bike?
It was a panhead.
Get out of here.
And Denver took me over to this Hell's Angels house, and he goes, I had the money. I just sold one of my cars, and I had the money. It was $900, and so I bought the bike. And Denver says,
"You bought a pan for $900?"
Yep. And so then I told him, or Denver told me, he says, if you can't go over there and kickstart it and ride it, that's Denver's last bike, right there. If you can't start the bike and you can't ride it, you got to ride it out of here, or else we're going to take it away from you. I went over and kicked on that son of a bitch. I started up, took off on it, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
And that was my first bike. But back then, you could get a running knucklehead for $600, a nice bike.
Jesus Christ.
You could get panheads for everybody. Nobody, it got to when the shovel heads came out, nobody wanted knuckleheads anymore. They were like kind of throwaways. And I remember,
like everybody now is doing pans, I feel like.
yeah, and knuckles, if you can get them.
Right.
But I remember getting a knucklehead basket case with papers. It was all apart for $150.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, I was riding it.
Yeah.
You know, that was the way it was back then. I mean, a nice bike high-end bike was $1,000.
Right.
So,
That's crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because now what's a pan worth $20,000?
Oh, it's starting. Yeah.
Yeah, just to get the so and then also generators, right?
Yeah.
You've worked on a few generators,
Oh, yeah.
and so isn't there a value?
The generator bikes, the generator pans panheads 48 to 65.
Right.
Those are huge. Yeah, everybody wants those.
just because they're rare.
Yeah, and the
Right.
66 they came out with the shovel head with a flat side on them, and those went to 71. And everybody's picking up cone shovels right now because you can still pick those up pretty reasonably.
Right.
These bikes we're looking at right now. Those are the Kawasaki's and the Hondas that we built,
And it's badass.
and I've got one of those in the shop. That was the one I rode on Deborah's funeral. That was his own personal bike.
That's the one you rode at the funeral. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, man. You know that day at Street Vibes when I was a kid, it was directly what influenced me into wanting to wrench and build motorcycles of my own. You know.
I think I brought quite a few of them that day. I was with Sonny Barger.
Yeah.
And the Angels. We were. I had my semi. I parked my semi there.
Yeah.
And it had the Dave Man painting on the side.
You came up to me. You gave me a shot to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know.
I talked to everybody.
Yeah, and you were like,
Especially
you need to
young
learn
guys,
your fucking
you
bikes,
know.
kid. You know.
Here's one
great,
thing
you know?
I used to do. Used to piss off Jesse James and all the other guys.
Yeah.
Would go do bike shows. We all traveled around the country doing bike shows together, and I would always let people come sit on my bikes and get their pictures taken. And especially little kids, I'd grab them, throw them on there, and get their pictures taken. Then the guy had his picture taken on. And then the wife would be standing off in the background. I'd call her up. I says, now it's your turn.
Yeah.
I ask his permission. Can I take a picture with your wife?
There you go.
And she'd light up, big smile on her face. She'd jump on the bike and
There you go.
put your glasses on, your shades on.
Shit.
And I still do that today.
There you go.
And that makes those little kids' day, to remember in those pictures. And they come to the shop, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
And the other guys would be pissed. Hey, how come you're letting them sit on your bikes? They want to sit on my bikes now. I said, then let them.
Let him.
He said, well, they'll
I
get
don't care
scratched
about
and
that
stuff.
at all.
I said, I don't give a shit. Fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
We wouldn't be here doing what we're doing right now if it wasn't for them being here. And so I'd have to yell at a few of those guys to,
I never got that.
Yeah,
I always
no,
tell everybody, like, my bike's insured. You can go drop it. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'd rather you catch the
I
bug.
rather you build them. They're nice bikes, but if they make a memory out of that, I got to sit on the Discovery Channel bike, and I let everybody sit on the Discovery Channel bike. And
How about Zito's bike?
and Chuck Zito, the one I built for Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, can you pull that up?
That's
so
a crazy bike.
So go to
crazy,
the website.
crazy story,
To
crazy
the far
bike.
left. No. Right there to the far left. I already got the tab open, brother. And then go to builds. Yep. And then, or is it there? Or no, it's in the gallery, isn't it? It's in the gallery.
I don't know where. There it is, right there to that one.
There's Chuck Zito's bike. 4 Sons of Anarchy.
That bike, I did it in 30 days. Chuck came up here and stayed with me for 30 days while I built that bike, and he was so crazy. I had to build the sissy bar 2 or 3 different times. He changed it. I had to build the pipes. Look, if you look, they go from a muffler to a bend to ripple pipes, and then up to fishtails. It's crazy.
That bike was in the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it also had the little skull in the front with a German helmet. I had to make that by hand.
Who's got that bike?
Chuck does. He still got it. I think it's in New York. And then I had to do the German helmet for an oil tank and chrome it. I had to make that. So everything on that bike I made. And if you look at the front wheels, that's really the Sons of Anarchy logo. Look at see the
Oh, yep.
the logo right there. It's got the hammer with the sickle,
Yep.
and then it says SOA. And so I've made the wood handles and everything. So I had to make those in the 30 days. I had to make those, and then to put a LED in that old Model T headlight. And then on the back, you can barely see it on the back fender. There's a full-size skull
Oh, okay.
with the eyes that light up. And the skull in front of the tank, the eyes light up.
I love that. I
And
love
then,
the whole bike.
so I had to do that whole bike, mold the frame. It was molded and painted in 3 days. And Sons of Anarchy logo on the tank. And then then the show, they're going to start filming. Chuck got a spot on the show because he was going to beat up, what's his name, the producer of that show. I can't think of his name right now. Because I don't know, because Chuck pitched this show to one of the studios, a couple of the
Kurt
studios.
Sutter, right?
Yeah, Kurt. And he pitched the show to him, and they said, "No, we're not going to do it. We're not interested." And then this show comes out, and it was exactly what Chuck pitched. So in fact, Chuck got in a lawsuit with Kurt Sutter, and of course Chuck lost the lawsuit. So the show went on, and Kurt Sutter really didn't know Chuck or his reputation, and started bad-mouthing Chuck. And so Chuck was going to, everybody started, you better not do that. That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
So they met in a public place, a restaurant. Kurt said, wanted to make peace with Chuck. So he says, I'll tell you what I'll do. He says, let me put you on the show, and you can do whatever you want. You can have your own bike. You can do whatever you want. And he played Frankie Diamond on there, remember?
Got it.
And so that's how he got on the show. And then so he came to me because him and I have been friends for years. He says, I want this bike built for the show. Wow. And so we built the bike, and we took it the night that they're going to start filming on Monday, and we got it there Saturday night. We got it down to Hollywood and took it to the studio. And that night we went to Kurt Sutter's house for a kickoff party.
Yeah.
And it was only the cast and the directors, and I was invited, so I was there. And it was at Kurt Sutter's house, and so we had a really good time. I got to hang out with all the guys and stuff.
Was it Chuck that wanted the pan, or was that what?
Oh, that was Chuck's old Panda. That was his old Hell's Angel bike.
Got it.
That was his blue Hell's Angel bike, and we tore it apart and made this bike.
Wow.
But that was, and you look at the bike and see how flamboyant it is, all the stuff all over it. It's like it's been cake decorated. Chuck probably won't like me saying that, but that's all right. But if you look at Chuck,
I like the gold. I love it.
But Chuck's pretty flamboyant. If you look, he's got bell bottoms on,
flame pants are tight.
and he's got red boots with silver tips. Yeah, that's just who Chuck is. So his motorcycle's got to be the same way, flashy, and that's just his personality. That's the New York. When I say New York has their own style, back east, that's their style. Like that.
With the big upsweep pipes and
so that anyway, we went to Kurt Suter's house that night, and I was sitting in the kitchen with Katie Seagal hanging out.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the main character's name on the movie? Dax or
Jax Teller. Yeah.
Jax.
Yeah.
That's Kurt Suter's son's name.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's why he got that, and Katie told me that.
Got it.
Yeah, so that's how that name came about. So
that show took off and got a life of its own. It's unfortunately that also brought a lot of people into the community that thought it was something it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
and that's
people
the
were
only
believing
downside.
what they saw.
Right. They,
But so that's
the guys I've had to kick out of my club for thinking that Sons of Anarchy is crazy.
Real. Yeah. But anyway, that's a story behind the bike. It was on there. It made a debut on the show, and so Chuck still got the bike. Outlaw Magazine did a whole magazine article on the bike.
On the bike, yeah.
From front to back page was all about Chuck and the bike.
Wow.
I don't know how he pulled that off. I have an idea.
Is there
but then it was also an Easy Rider magazine did an article on it.
Is there a little signature you do, like a calling card on every ride you do? No. I was always curious.
Most people can tell my style just by the front ends and stuff like that.
Well, I know just because I'm from here, and those are the bikes that I see the most.
Yeah,
you know.
And then there's a picture right below me and Brad Pitt hanging out in front of my shop in Vegas. That's the old
Bottom
shop.
left.
Yeah, that one.
There you go.
So Brad came to my shop and he was riding his bike.
What was he riding?
He was riding an old Panhead, a jockey shift, and he had a photographer with him, Timothy White out of New York, a famous photographer, does all the presidents and all that stuff and all the celebrities. So I knew Tim. Tim was he was best friends with Indian Larry.
Okay.
And actually you'll see him on the Indian Larry episode that I did on Biker Build Up. You'll see Tim there with his camera doing pictures. Well, anyway, they came by the shop in Vegas, and he was limping around because he had fallen off his bike the day before and tore up his knee. So we were hanging out at the shop, and he goes, he asked me, he says, "Can I have a sweatshirt? Or can I buy a sweatshirt for me?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Why not?" And I says, "Look, your pants are all ripped up." I said, "I want my fucking clothes ripped up." And he goes, "Please, please, please." So I finally, I gave him a sweatshirt. He says, "Let's go get a picture taken." So then we went out in front and did this picture.
Wow. So
that's a story behind that picture. But he's down to earth. We had him and his crew. We had a bunch of. They had a motorhome with him, and he was on his bike. So they one of the members, club member, and one of the HAs or DJ, he goes, "Well, let's go riding." And let's take off and go riding. So we all jumped on our choppers, and we took off. And Brad was in the back, and I told him, "Try to keep up and don't embarrass us," So we treated him like a prospect, So we went riding, and we ended up south of town on Vegas. And we go, "Where are we going to go now?" And I was sitting next to Billy Lane because Billy Lane was in town. He used to keep a bike at my shop. He'd fly in all the time and stay at my house. And so we went ahead and took off from there. And I was sitting there talking to Billy, and DJ goes, "Hey, let's go out to the whorehouse and prompt."
Yeah.
And we
that
go,
checks out.
"Oh my!" We go, "Well, I don't know, man. It could be problems, for Brad and stuff." And Brad said, "Yeah, I want to go. All right, so we headed out. About 45 minutes we were out there, and we pull up there, and of course all the girls went crazy because Brad comes walking, and then they see Billy Lane.
Yeah.
And so we were hanging out there, and none of us were with the girls in the biblical sense. We were just there enjoying ourselves at the bar and stuff. Yeah. And so the madam comes up and she goes, "Have you guys had dinner yet?" And we said, "No, we haven't." She says, "Well, come in with me. We're all gonna sit down and have dinner together." So we sat at the great big table. It was like a big conference table. And I was sitting at the head of the table, and Billy is on one side and Brad's on the other. And the girls are coming in waiting on us, all the working girls. And I told Brad and Billy, I says, "You young guys remember this, the night we spent at the whorehouse and the girls were waiting on us." So we had a big dinner there, and then they were shooting pictures inside the brothel with Brad and Billy and stuff, and I think I was in a few of them. But anyway, it got late, and it was getting time to leave. So 2 or 3 in the morning, we left out of there, went back to Vegas, and Brad said this is the best time he ever had. He says, "I was treated like a human being. I rode in the back and tried to keep up, and you had to start my bike for me a few times. And so it was a big deal to him. So we parted ways. The next day he called me and his manager, and they go, the best time we ever had. Brad says, I'll never forget this day we spent with you. Long story short, it ended up on the cover of National Enquirer.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you come to my shop, I got that National Enquirer with Brad on the cover. It says something like, Brad joins Hell's Angels, ends up in a brothel. You know how those are.
Yeah.
So I've got that. And I remember Brad's lawyers calling me, and they said, can you tell us what happened? Because one of the girls was trying to say she was with him. And I said, he never left our side. He never was. So So they had to tone down that article of the girl. Of course, she had a mask over her eyes and stuff like that, claiming.
Wow.
So that was a big story. That was kind of fun. And
that's a fucking insane story. What are you talking about? That's crazy.
I got a million stories
That's
like
crazy.
that.
That's crazy.
I got a million stories. I got one more quick one that was really funny. It was we were in Sturgis every year. We'd go to Sturgis to the clubhouse or the HA clubhouse in Sturgis, and that's back when Pee Wee was still in the club. And Pee Wee would go, and him and I'd go early, a couple of days early, to get the house open because everybody stayed there. And I used to run the shop in the garage. We had a shop going in the downstairs where I'd do oil changes and change tires, work on people's bikes to keep everybody going. So I'd go there and spend 2 weeks at Sturgis at the clubhouse. I'd stay there. And anyway, something happened, and the shop got raided. All the feds, they're always hanging around right there. There was One-Eyed Jack's, and we're right behind One-Eyed Jack's. One-Eyed Jack's is that 3-story bar that's right huge and right now Main Street in Sturgis. So anyway, and right at the end of the alley was the police station, and the cops were walk up and down between the Hell's Angel Clubhouse and One-Eyed Jack's. Was a little alley.
Yeah.
So they're always coming up and down there, the cops. That was their trail to go around. They're walking around. So they're always eyeballing us and everything else. So they raided the shop. And they came in with the FBI or the machine guns and all that shit. Made everybody lay down, this, that, and the other. And so I remember I was in the lobby area of the shop where they had sold the T-shirts and had all the memorabilia. And Pee Wee was behind the counter. And they go, this is a raid. Get your hands up. Pee Wee said, shut up. He says, attention customers. During the raid, there's half off on all T-shirts, a blue light special. So people are, okay. And so people are still shopping, doing the shirts. The cops are just standing there. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, what do we do?
Yeah.
Pee Wee's conducting business, selling all the shirts. And finally, all the people left, the half off sale. And
fuck. Oh my God.
And so then he cussed out the cops and stuff like that. But it was the funniest thing I ever seen when he had the blue light special.
What year was that?
Ooh, that had to be about 7 or 8, maybe. Yeah. But the clubhouse used to get raided all the time. But that was the funniest thing I seen there was that raid.
2007, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And that was a funny story. We always had a good time there, but yeah.
Yeah. I like I said, man, like you've influenced a lot of the culture, right? I don't think the culture would even be what it is without what happened in Southern California back then. The bikes.
Absolutely.
And it's still going on. It's 2026.
Yeah. I can't believe the time that's gone by, and the years go by so fast and you're not getting them back.
Yeah.
But I still live every day like I'm 20 years old. It's all in my mind. And
I remember watching this video of you. You're the one that said this. The difference between. Do you remember this? The difference between chopper and custom motorcycle. Can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
Because I think that definition is the most truest and
well,
purest.
there is a difference. Now, a lot of guys claim that they're bike builders,
right?
But they're catalog builders.
They're customizers.
Yeah, they buy all the parts out of a catalog. They buy the frames. They buy all the parts. They put a bike together and they paint it and go, wow, I'm a custom bike builder. And I go, well, show me what you built on the bike. Well, I painted it and I put it together. I said, yeah, but what did you build on the bike?
Right.
Well, I'm a bike builder. And I said, no, you're an assembler. You're a catalog builder. There is a difference.
Yes.
And people should know the difference and recognize that bike builders actually make the parts on the bike and put the blood, sweat, and tears and the failed pieces and have to throw them away and build another one. That's what a bike builder does.
Yeah.
And the catalog builders buy parts and claim to be bike builders. Big difference.
He's talking about actually cutting necks and welding trees and
building the front ends, building the handlebars, building the pipes,
twisting
building the
metal,
seats, twisting metal. That's that's all kind of a lost art. If you remember all the guys, you're probably pretty young, but in 2004, around that time when we did the biker build-offs, most all of those guys that were on the biker build-offs are no longer in the motorcycle business.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, most all of them are gone. Think about it.
The only ones I'm watching was you and Larry. You know what I mean?
And,
like
and
that's
Billy,
the most important, right? Of course.
and Billy Lane. But most all the other guys, that top picture up there, top right, that picture. Look at that one. Like a lot of these guys were in biker build-off. They're all out of the business now.
Hey, Mondo, I have a question for you.
Sure. There's Chuck behind me.
I don't ride motorcycles. And so I was just talking about this the other day. When I was a kid, when I was sitting down watching TV all day, one of the shows that was on quite a bit was Orange County Choppers.
Yes.
What's your, since we're talking about bike builders?
Let me go ahead. You go first.
No, I was just going to say, listen, there's different styles for everything. And I love some of the bikes that came out of Orange County Choppers.
Oh, no, I just want Mondo's opinion on how they build bikes.
I know those guys.
Right.
And
you built front ends for Orange County Choppers.
I built front ends for Orange County Choppers. And they were hitting it big and hitting all the shows that we were at, Billy and everybody. And Billy would use their T-shirts to wipe the bikes down on stage.
Oh, fuck.
Because all I remember from that show was Paul Sr. throwing
that's when we're doing the Blood,
kids.
Sweat, and Gears tour. We're touring around the country building bikes and giving them away to the vets. Me and Billy and Aaron Green and a lot of the guys. There's Sonny and Chuck.
Orange County made the chopper scene almost what I would say commercial. In my opinion, they went. I always like to say there's a good group of people right there. Yeah. That's Tim White, the photographer, right next between Aaron and Paul Cox. That's that world famous photographer that brought Brad Pitt into my shop. Yeah. Then of course you see Billy Lane and Aaron Paul Green, Cox and Aaron Green and Jennifer, of course. Jennifer, she was my road partner when we travel around the country. Would take off in the semi, and I'd drive my semi around the country, hit all the shows back east. We were having fun back then. Jennifer's cool, man.
There's that's Jay Allen, of course, Broken Spoke. I saw him last weekend in Arizona. That's picture down. That's when Billy and I were talking. See us sitting on the curb?
Yeah.
Remember I told you that Billy and I were talking about going out to the whorehouse, and I was telling Billy that's probably a bad idea. That's what I was saying to him right there.
Yeah.
And I got outvoted, like a lot of things.
Well, it sounds like it was the right move.
This is Billy Lane in his first hubless bike, and that's the bike that is in the Dave Mann painting.
Right.
And we're riding. Mike Lichter was shooting for Easy Rider magazine, and he was in the back of a truck, and Billy and I are riding together. That's in Florida, and that was for a bike show at the.
Is that Colorado, right?
No, that was in Arizona where they do the auction.
Okay.
The Barrett Jackson auction.
Right.
That was in the same building, and a lot of these guys that are back. Eddie Trotter's, there, and then the Martin brothers, and I see
the old early 2000s.
There's Arlen Ness, and all those guys are all Russ Mitchell, Johnny Chop. This guy down to the Japanese guy, both those guys were on Biker Build-Off. So those were a lot of guys that were on, and most all of those guys are out of the business.
Wow.
But
what do you think that's for? The market?
No, they burn out or they just gave up or what? I have no idea. Why they left. I'm sure
Go to the knucklehead, the yellow knucklehead real quick. The one with Mondo standing next to it. That one. That's my favorite bike you ever built, man.
I should have kept that bike.
So you know what it's going for right now?
I have no idea.
That they're starting the bid at 24, I think.
Yeah. God, the motor's worth that.
Right.
The motor's like it. And I was in Miami Beach and Billy Lane gave me that shirt. So That's pretty special. I still got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did the no front brake thing come in? You know?
Oh, that was that started from the start.
Yeah.
And we never ran front brakes.
Yeah.
We ran less is more.
Yeah.
Pull up that trike down there in the bottom
Oh,
right.
that trike's badass. Yeah, fuck.
That one, I got a blown knucklehead in it, 103-inch blown knucklehead.
Does that have a belt drive?
No, that's a belt drive on the blower.
Yeah, holy shit.
And it's got the carburetor coming out the front.
You know?
And I took a beer keg in the back and made it my fuel tank. I cut it in half. The bottom half of the of that Coors.
What's that? What's the cubic inch of that
tank.
blower?
And then I took the top of it, that beer keg. I took the top of it and opened a lid on it, so the top part was a trunk.
What was the engine displacement on that?
103-inch knucklehead.
There you go.
What was
dude.
the cubic inch on the blower?
I don't remember. It was 150 horsepower. I know that.
Jesus
And that
Christ.
tank on the backbone is the oil tank.
There you go.
And then I used a Budweiser handler for the shifter.
Yeah.
That'd run a VW Bug like 8 seconds.
Yeah, that's 150 horsepower. Accurate engineering. That's an aftermarket knucklehead. So it's brand new. And that was kind of fun.
Well,
I like to do stuff that's different that nobody else
Yeah,
does.
nobody's ever fucking done that. That's fucking badass.
Yeah, there's no bottom right. You'll see the other side of it. See it down there? There it is.
Well, so I gotta talk to you about some of the obvious things a lot of people want to know.
That's a good shot of it. The knucklehead. You can actually see the oil lines coming off the tank up there.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Go to that purple bike right next to it. Blue. Fuck yeah.
That one went to. Here's a funny story on that one. That one went to Japan. They came over from Japan.
That's the two
and
headlights,
ordered it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, ordered it from Japan. And when it got over there, there was a girl involved, and she started crying. And I, well, what's wrong? You know what? She says, the bike is too clean. We like bikes from coming over from we want them to look like they've been ridden.
Go fucking ride it.
And if you look at all their bikes, all their bikes are mostly grimy and grungy.
Yeah.
And so this one, I said, well, go put some grunge on it. I said, I don't build grunge bikes. So I says, you got it like you got it. It's perfectly clean, ready for. In fact, I think it got shot for a magazine over there in Japan.
In the last episode, we talked about how cool I think the Japan chopper scene is.
Yeah, that's huge. But yeah, they were mad because it wasn't dirty. This bottom bike, look down here, that's the one I built for Pee Wee.
Yeah.
And that's an FXR, and it's got a stretch frame. See the stretch frame on the FXR? That thing had a 113, and it was a badass race
There was
motor.
another FXR in your gallery.
That was a fast one. I built that one for me and one for him at the same time.
Yeah.
And
have you seen some of the built bikes?
And that bike was on the cover of the Hell's Angel calendar too.
There you go. The Thunderheader and everything.
Yeah. And
you indirectly created the club style scene.
There's Chuck with it right there.
Yeah.
That was in San Bernardino Valley. And the back fender had AFFA and LED lights.
Back when the testosterone was good.
Oh, that shine through the fender.
Yeah, that shine through the AFFA.
So it was
and
off,
the A and the F were the turn signals, and then the whole thing was the brake lights, and all of it was also the running light.
Fucking cool. Yeah.
But I made all that and put that in that back fender.
Wow.
Yeah. So
go up, John, to the
let's go to the biker build-off bike.
Yeah. Where is that at?
I don't know.
Would it be under the build?
Yeah, it just keep going down. There it is over there. Go with a girl sitting on it by herself.
With the big strip.
Yeah,
there it is.
That's the bike I built for the biker build-off against Indian Larry in 2004. I built that in my bike shop in Vegas. I had a lot of the guys from the old shop from Purdue come up and give me a hand. We had 10 days to build the bike. Before that, all the guys had 30 days. They gave us 10 days. That bike is all hand-built. There's no store-bought parts on it. Every piece of it's hand-built. We did it in 9 days complete riding. And then we put it on a truck and sent it back to Pittsburgh. And I jumped on my FXR and raced across country with a couple of the members, raced clear to Pittsburgh because we're going to start filming on Friday morning. We started off filming in an old abandoned steel mill. And so I jumped on my FXR. We got there Thursday night about 1 a.m. I got about 3 hours sleep, jumped on this bike and rode for another 3 days.
Fuck yeah.
and we got to run the Dragon's Tail too.
Yeah.
On that bike, and so that bike is pretty special. 9 days, I still got it. That went against a chain of mystery when Larry got killed.
Did I hear? So there's a rumor. I'd love it.
I need to take a break.
You're good.
Out here, you ride with your head on a swivel, but you can't control everyone else. If you're hurt in a motorcycle wreck, the insurance game starts fast. Don't go it alone. Law Tigers is a national network of motorcycle accident attorneys. Start with a free case evaluation, and there are no upfront fees. You don't pay attorney fees unless they recover compensation for you. Law Tigers is a sponsor of 4th Street Live podcast. Law Tigers, because you should never ride alone. When it comes to stopping power, performance matters. That's where G-Brakes comes in. Built for riders who demand precision, control, and reliability, G-Brakes delivers high-quality braking systems engineered for real-world performance. Whether you're carving through the streets or pushing limits on the road, every detail is designed with durability and safety in mind. G-Brakes is a sponsor of 4th Street Live.
There's only one place in town I take my Harley-Davidson motorcycle to, and that is Slab Sides Motorcycle Shop on Glendale Avenue in Reno. If you're looking for a tune-up, customizing your motorcycle, bars, exhaust, they've got everything you need and one of the best hourly rates in town for any of your motorcycle repair stuff. Go check out Slab Sides Motorcycle Shop.
We're back. Thank you, guys. Is the change and the shift in the culture, and I'll tell you my perspective, and you can tell me if I'm wrong because you invented it. You know what I mean? But here's my perspective on this. There are, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of any influencer whatsoever, right? Like I do a podcast where I talk to people, but I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. You know what I mean? But there's influencers now that are around the chopper scene and how they fucking dress, right? Okay? This thing is starting to bother me a little bit. Now, I could be wrong because I come from a culture of the outlaw side, right? Where I'm coming around dudes that I've grown up with my whole life that build motorcycles. That what you talked about at the beginning of this episode was that culture of we're going to get your bike fucking running so you can go on this run tomorrow. That is the culture that I was brought up in. Right?
And all the money goes together in a pot. We're all brothers, and we take care of each other. And that's 24 hours a day.
And we ride in the fucking snow.
Yeah.
And it's not fair weather. And if we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it on our motorcycles. And it's equal amount of building your motorcycle as it is riding your motorcycle, right? And it wasn't about what day of the week it was, you know. And today, you know, there's shows out there, even in Reno, where they're not letting dudes with patches come in, okay? And this bothers me a little bit because everybody, I wear a patch. Everybody I come up with wears a patch. All my friends wear patches. And what bigger motorcycle enthusiast is there than a dude that wears a cut, right? You know?
Well, let me tell you a quick story. Back in the day, the local Harley-Davidson dealership in Purdue didn't want club members with patches coming into the Harley-Davidson dealership.
Wow.
And that was the only place you could get parts. So it would have to send people, you know, they'd send people in that go get these parts for me because they wanted to turn away the whole culture. And you got to remember, this whole culture started because of the early clubs.
Right.
And back in the early clubs, they all rode choppers of some sort or other. So I have nothing but love and respect for all the guys that blazed the trail.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of bike shows, they don't, I always think, what's this about? You know, you're having a bike show, but you won't let the people that started this whole thing, you don't allow them to come in to the show. And I find that very troubling for me personally because I'm from that era.
Right.
And I had nothing but love and respect for the people I grew up with. And to see a lot of those guys, well, they'll close the door on them. I just think, that ain't right. You know, they've taken this thing of ours, which I call it, this whole chopper thing, and they've kind of bastardized it a little bit, you know, and it's just crazy, you know.
You're happy.
I see a lot of stuff that makes me laugh sometimes and makes me kind of just curious. Is the guys will go down and buy a bike and then they go over to the clothing department, they buy the do-rag, they buy the glasses, they buy the vest, they buy the jacket, they buy the boots, they buy the T-shirts, and they go, wow, I'm a biker.
Yeah.
They have no idea
Right.
what we went through. And back in our day, if you couldn't work on your bike and build your bike and maintain your bike and hold your mud, they'd beat you up and take your bike away.
There you go.
Bikes used to get taken away from guys that the other guys didn't feel that you deserved it. You lost your bike. Wow. And that was all the rest to it.
Wow.
You'll never be one of us. I don't know where you got that bike from, but they'd take it away from you. And this has really, really happened. I know. Yeah. And
I can appreciate that the culture is living on, and that's the part that I think is great. But I also think that it was never. It's like now it's like almost yuppieized. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And
well, if you look, and I one of the club members talked. Him and I talk all the time. In fact, we put on bike shows together.
Yeah.
And he says, well, it's all these young, he calls them skateboarders.
Yeah.
All the guys that go to that Born Free.
Yeah.
With their bikes that look like wall art more than they are riding choppers, and they're the little hipsters.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And they're trying to be hip, and they're trying to relive something that's already been gone. They're trying to dress like we did back then. They build their bikes like the style we did back then. They're trying to relive something that is no longer there.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, but all they're doing is mimicking something, but they were never there. They never been through it. They never went through the bar fights, the gang fights, the getting arrested, getting chased down.
These guys have never been punched in the face.
Yeah. And for us, it was a weekly deal, and so it's a whole different culture. And I see these the Born Free type guys, and I go, well, I'm glad you're a motorcycle enthusiast. I appreciate that, but they wouldn't have lasted 10 minutes at one of our parties,
There you go.
And that's different. And I have no animosity towards them.
I get it.
I'm glad that they're riding motorcycles. I'm glad they're riding choppers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you missed the decades
Totally.
when it was a real deal.
Right. I get it. I have my own bike show. I get it. I love this scene too, but mine is going to be inclusive, right? I want all the guys and all the people to show up. And also, just like Mondo said, it really is, in my opinion, is there's builders and there's customizers, right? And then there's everything in between. And I can appreciate builds wherever they come from. I love two wheels, and to me, the culture in general, not just choppers, but motorcycles. The motorcycle scene in general is starting to die, and it might even die with my kids' generation.
I see that. Well, you being around Harley Davidson, also, you see the young people aren't into motorcycles,
right? And
that's the demographics that you're looking for, and they're not coming around.
Right.
They rather play on their iPhones,
Totally.
instead of I got a grandson. I got him at my shop now. He's 15. I just had him tear his dirt bike down. I powder coated the frame. He tore it all the way down, bagged and tagged all the parts. He took videos of it, and now him and his buddy are putting it back together.
There you go.
And I got him working on Harleys too.
Yep.
And I've got him working on hot rods. So I took him to his first drag race, the Nostalgia Drags in Formosa and Bakersfield.
Yep.
We went down there. Aaron Green was tuning a front engine dragster.
There you go.
And so we took our gasser down and parked it with him. And he had my grandson and his buddy never been to a drag race before. So the first thing I did when I got there, we unloaded the gasser, went and put it in the pits with Aaron, is I went and rented him a golf cart, threw him the keys, and I said, I don't want to see you guys till tonight.
Yeah.
Go have fun.
Yeah.
You've earned some money at the shop. Go have fun. Go buy T-shirts. I didn't see those kids for almost 3 days.
Right.
They had a ball. It was baptism by fire. I had them go underneath the gasser. I says, go underneath the gasser, uncork the headers on it.
Yeah.
And he says, really? I says, you go under there and figure it out how to do it. And they did. And they uncorked it. And I says, now get inside the car and start it. And he said, well, I don't know how.
Yeah.
Just jump in there. I'll show you.
Yeah.
And he fired that car up, and he revved it up and stuff. The glow on his face, the look in his eyes reminds me of guys when they see choppers for the first time. It was baptism by fire. He's right in it. He's wearing the Denver shirts and he's wearing drag shirts and he's all over the place. Now I got my grandson hooked on drag racing. And so
That's so fucking cool.
yeah. So
And that's what I'm trying to instill in my kids.
Yeah. So now I'll keep him broke, spending money on motorcycles and cars, you know, and that's a dying breed.
It is, man.
And,
It's a dying breed of what I believe is like the epitome of men is dudes that not afraid to get punched in the face, not afraid to throw a punch, not afraid to get dirty and sleep next to their motorcycle. You know, these are things that these are what to me is
sleep
like,
on the ground next to your motorcycle in a sleeping bag when you pass out next to your motorcycle.
Yeah. And like the it's been said lots of times on this show, but the most coolest accessory you can put on your motorcycle is fucking miles. And that is something that I wish that some of the new chopper scene guys would pay attention to, is that, you know, there's so much more to this than just the small echo chamber some of y'all are living in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a purist all the way, you know, you know, and I can appreciate that. I like building motorcycles these days now. Like my bike's got cruise control, right? And Mondo doesn't know what that's about, you know. But I love it, man. You know,
you got to remember back in our day.
Yeah,
we would go to California, Arizona. We'd go everywhere on our choppers. Didn't think twice about it. You know, throw the sleeping bag on there and, you know, take off.
Yeah.
And if your bike, here's the funny thing, if your bike broke down and it was not repairable,
right,
it went in the back of the chase truck, and now that was a parts bike for everybody else.
Right.
Because back then, all the parts on our bikes interchanged, knucklehead, panhead, shovelhead, all the parts interchanged. So you'd come back and your bike would be missing a front wheel, it'd be missing a generator, it'd be missing a M74B carburetor. And so the next week, you'd go visit every guy's house, sit down and drink beer with them and get your carburetor back. And then go to the other guy's house and put your bike back together.
Yeah.
But you never wanted to be the first guy to have your bike in the back of the truck,
back of the car,
because everybody would be over there taking parts off it so they could keep rolling. And that was just a brotherhood. That's fine. We used to take guys that coming through town, their bikes would break down. You take them home. You feed them. You give them a place to stay that night. You go out in the garage, fix your bike, and send them down the road.
Yeah.
And if you gave them a generator, carburetor, they'd send it back with a thank you note. And it was a code. It was we lived by, and you don't leave a brother behind on the side of the road. And we'd take them home, do that. They'd send us the parts back and invite us to wherever they're from, you know. And that's just what you did back then. In fact, I still do it at my shop. Guys come through town and they need some welding done or something's broke on their bike. I'll take it in, put it up on the lift, fix it. They go out the door and they go, "What do we owe you?" "Nothing. Go have a good time."
Wow, that's cool, man.
And I still live by that code, and that's a code that a lot of people don't even have any idea what it's all about. But there's a few of us out there that still live by that code, and I'm one of them.
Do you got a favorite yet? I know it's going to be a hard question to answer. Do you have a favorite build you've ever done? One that you just felt like was just you were in your flow state and you could.
Well, I just built. I want you to see them. I just built those two bikes in memory of Denver. They could have been sitting out in front of our shop 50 years ago, and I molded the frames exactly like we did back then. Like I said, one of them made the Easy Rider and Hot Bike were cyclists were fighting over them who would get them for the cover.
What's the motor in them?
Yeah, one of them's got a shovel head, the orange one, Denver's bike.
Wow.
And then the other one is my knucklehead, one of my knuckleheads.
Wow.
And I did that like a cop bike. I did the black and white paint job with and I put a Highway Patrol badge on it and got the blue running lights.
Oh, is that the one with the tanks enclaved?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That one's
molded
badass.
The frame. That bike is one of my favorites. And of course,
that one's been at the show a couple of times.
Of course, I'm building the hell out of those Captain America bikes and the Billy bikes. And let me tell you a quick story, and maybe we can start winding it down a little bit. Let me tell you about the ride I had with Indian Larry. Larry was a friend of mine, and people. Let me go back one step further. When Jesse James came along, they asked him who Easy Rider magazine, Dave Nichols, they said that the studio, Discovery, went to him and says, there's the cop bike.
That's the cop bike.
Yeah, they said, who would you like? We could do a story on that's a bike builder. And Dave Nichols says, well, I got this guy in Long Beach named Jesse James. You guys ought to go see him. And they did. And that's how Jesse James got started. Dave Nichols from Easy Rider started him out. And then Motorcycle Mania 2, when him and Larry came through Vegas, their bikes broke down. They were on their way to Sturgis. They came and stopped by my shop, and I got their bikes going for them again. That's where I got my first Discovery Channel deal.
Wow.
But then all the they would call Dave Nichols. They go, there's the Mankind Award. That's the award I won, the Dave Mann Award. That's the first time that was given out. And that's for the person that's lived the lifestyle of Dave Mann. So I'm really proud of that Dave Mann.
Wow, man.
That's the one I got at the Dave Mann Chopper Fest, and first recipient of that. That's a big deal.
I like how Instagram dates it 428 weeks ago.
That was 2018. Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
So anyway, this Indian Larry deal,
Yeah.
of course, the biker build-offs, Dave Nichols had called, so who do you want to go against each other in the biker build-offs? And so actually Dave picked the guys that he wanted to go up against each other from Easy Rider. And so he got to me and he called me and he says, do you want to do one of these biker build-offs? They had already been doing it for a season or so. I was episode 12. And I says, yeah, only if, on one condition, I can go against Indian Larry.
There you go.
I want to go East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah.
I want a rivalry there. And I know Larry, and they called Larry, and they had him scheduled to go against somebody else, and they kicked that guy off the show and said, and Larry says, yeah, I absolutely want to go against Mondo. So that's how that deal went off. And and the rest is history, and of course is
He
untimely.
passed away, yeah, right in the middle of it, right?
It was a crazy deal because the 3 days that we rode together, we knew each other previously, but we got to know each other because we're riding next to each other for 3 days with a helicopter thing filming us. And Larry wasn't sleeping at night. I go, Larry, what's wrong? Come on, come in the hotel room and get some sleep. We got to ride all day tomorrow. And he goes, I can't sleep. I said, what's the matter? And he goes, they want me to do that where I stand on the seat at the bike show we're going to, and he says, I don't feel good about it. I don't want to do it. I says, Larry, don't do it. So it was like that for a couple days. And we were riding and we went through we did all the things on the way there. We had the fun. We did the Dragon Tail and all that stuff. So we got to the venue in Charlotte and where the bike show was going. It was Saturday morning. And we got there and the crowds were there and him and I come riding in together. But before we got there, before we got into where we turned in, he was right next to me. He stood on the seat of his bike and did the Iron Cross and sat back down. Didn't look at me, didn't look at anybody else, but we all knew what he was doing. Because by this time, the scuttlebutt was around. Because I brought my crew from, my bike guys all followed me out there from Vegas. And then he had his crew with him, Paul Cox and all those guys, his crew. So we had both crews together. So we had all pretty much caught wind about how he's feeling about this. And so I told him, don't do it. So then he does that trick and he sits back down and then we pull into the venue. And I just kind of went, to myself. He wanted to see, he was doing it for himself. He was doing that. So we get in the venue, we pull inside, and of course, the cameras are rolling and we get off our bikes and we're greeting people and people are coming up. And the voting started, and all that stuff. And the lady that was putting on the show, she came up to Larry and she goes, we want you to go out back and do that trick that you do. And he goes, well, I don't want to do it. I'll stand right next to him. I don't want to do it. I don't feel good about it. And she goes, she held up the cover like this, had a picture of him like this. It says, well, you're on the cover of our pamphlet doing this trick and people are here to see you do that trick. And my girlfriend had just flown in. She didn't know anything about what was going on. And she's standing next to me and Larry come walking by and he's white as a sheet. And my girlfriend goes, what's the matter with Larry? I said, stay in here with me. Don't go outside. Stay in here with me. He went outside. He did the trick, and he's doing an encore, and he fell off with no helmet, hit his head. And he didn't die till that night about 3 o'clock.
Holy fuck.
But they care flighted him out. And we were so pissed off at that lady. We all pulled out. Dave Perowitz was there. I think Billy Lane was there. Kendall Johnson. We all had our trucks and trailers there with all our bikes. We all pulled out of the show. We said, fuck you. You just killed our friend. He said he didn't want to do that. Wow. And so we went back to our rooms, and about 2 or 3 in the morning, they came and knocked on my door, and they knocked on my door, woke me up, went, got Billy Lane, went and got Kendall, went and got Paul Cox. I think there's 1 or 2 other guys. And they put us in a van. They took us to the hospital.
Yeah.
They took us up to Larry's room, and he says, we want you guys to go up and say goodbye because we're going to turn the machines off. And so we all got to hold his hand and talk to him, and say goodbye, kiss him goodbye. And that was it. That was it. And then, so after that, the producer of that show, Kurt Beers, I can't remember, I think it was Kurt Beers was the producer. And he says, well, we're probably not going to air this show.
Right.
And so they went to Bambi, Larry's wife, and they go, what do you think about us airing the show? And she goes, oh, Larry would want you to. But you can't show the accident or any of that. So, a few months went by before they decided if they were going to edit and do the show. So they decided they were going to. In the meantime, I flew to New York for the memorial service at Indian Larry. That's the first block party they had at his place there in the Bronx. And a lot of people showed up for his going away party. And I got up on stage. They wanted me to get up and say something. And I got up and I was talking to Indian. I looked at Indian Larry's crew was standing next to me, all the guys from the shop. And I looked at him. I says, you and I are a lot alike. I had to come in and take my best friend's place and keep the shop going. And I looked at him. I says, I think you guys need to do the same. And they all shook their heads.
Yeah.
We're going to keep Indian Larry's shop going.
There you go.
And what they did with the Indian Larry logo, with the question mark, they put wings on it.
Wow.
And now it's Indian Larry Legacy.
Yeah.
It's right. Now here's the rest of the story. Indian Larry had taken a truck piston, and he had it all polished, a semi-truck piston, and all engraved, and he had his question mark on there. And then they engraved Indian Larry on there, Paul Cox, Kano, everybody signed that thing, and it was a gift to me.
Wow.
So Bambi took me in, and all the crew took me into Larry's office. They says, open this box. Larry made this for you. So I said, okay. I opened the box, pulled it out. There it was, just all the signatures and everything. I looked at the top, question mark with angel wings on it. And he had this made before he passed. I got it at my shop. I'd love to show it to you.
There you go.
And that sticks to me to this day.
Fuck.
Denver had a premonition that day, and Larry had a premonition. Wow. So those things do exist. I believe in it. I've witnessed it twice.
Yeah, man.
And then we said goodbye to Larry, but he's as big now as he ever was.
Right.
He's as famous now as he ever was. He was a gentleman. He left a legacy. He was my friend. He was honest. He was true to what he believed in. And I think he should always be a legend and somebody you never forget, somebody you want to emulate was that guy there.
Wow, man.
Because he went through tough times and he went through good times and he went out on top.
Yeah.
I wish he would have never went out, but he did. Everybody, you never know. It could happen to you tomorrow. But Larry's, in this country, the people that I look up to, he's one of them.
Right.
Another one is Aaron Green. I think is the best bike builder in the world.
Yeah.
And of course, Billy Lane's one of my best buddies. And there's a few guys, but Larry was right up there on top.
Right.
And I got to live that dream with him and ride next to him and handlebar to handlebar, 100 miles an hour. And there's Aaron Green right there. That's who I think is the best bike. That's a blown, pull that picture up, please. No, the white one. That bike there has a blown alcohol blower on top of it. It's a blown alcohol motor putting 850 horsepower. The gas tank has the butterflies, like you see a bird catcher butterfly on the top of a blower, the little flaps that go up and down. That's got the blower in it. And we did a bike show. It's called NorCal Chopper Show. Aaron owns a vineyard now, a winery in California, and he turned it into a pot grow. So he's got an indoor pot grow at the winery. But we have bike shows there now, that's his bike, a White Knuckles, and he started that bike, and it just blew everything away. The sound of that thing, 850 horsepower on nitromethane.
How much do you think that bike weighs?
But he took and
like 1,000 pounds.
He took the primary. He made everything on it himself. He put gear to gear to gear on the primary.
Yeah.
So there's no belt, no chain. He took and used clutches out of a Toyota car for the clutch, a multi-disc clutch system on it. I mean, that thing is so unbelievable. So at the end of the year, NorCal Chopper Show right over the hill.
Yeah.
I'd love to see everybody there.
There you go. Well, I want to talk to you real quick. I just wanted to thank you. Here's something, people don't. You are a famous motorcycle builder, man. And you come to me and Robert's bike shows, man, and it means the world to us because you don't have to do that, And what you're saying, it all resonates because it's the truth. You don't have to come to the biggest or the baddest little bike shows, and you come because I believe that you want to just continue this generation, man, and it means the world to us for you doing that for us,
Well, I every time I see young guys like you, I have to smile and just go, okay, like I said, this thing of ours is in good hands. And, most everybody I grew up from in the shop, and I was the youngest of the group. And all my friends have passed away pretty much. There's like 3 or 4 of us left out of about 30 of us. And I've watched every one of them pass. And to be the last man standing, I feel my job here is not done. My job is to, preach about choppers and the history and who Denver was and the culture itself and still living it and still being a part of it. And I when I see people come in and order choppers from me or just have choppers, I always get goosebumps and a good feeling, and that does it for me. My life is complete. If I leave tomorrow, then I've had a great life doing what I do, and I'm glad that you guys are doing shows like this and getting the word out and talking about some of this stuff and get some of the fantasies that these guys have about the old world and stuff. Let's tell them about the truth, instead of what you see on Sons of Anarchy. Right. We'll talk about the real stuff. So
right.
I'm here in Reno. I've got my shop here in Reno, and my doors are always open. I'm there on Saturdays. Everybody's welcome. Come by. I'll give you a tour of the shop, show you a lot of nostalgic stuff, show you a lot of history, a lot of pictures on the walls, a lot of memorabilia, a lot of stuff going on there. So I'm always happy to share a piece of history with anybody that has the time to listen. I'll take the time to tell them.
How'd you get to Reno from Vegas?
Oh, well, my daughter lives here. I only have one daughter.
Yeah.
She called me up one day and says, "Oh, man, you got grandkids up here.
Yeah.
Get your ass up here."
There you go.
I had 10 people working for me in my shop in Vegas. Great, big, beautiful shop. I shut it down, came up here, opened the shop, and doing it all by myself. I got Gerald comes in on Saturday and a few other guys.
Gerald's such a great
builder. Oh,
builder.
He's the best.
God.
Half the bikes are his. I built for him. He's got a collection. Him and I always have bikes going.
And he's like you. I can talk to him for hours.
Yeah, and he's always got bikes going on. And he's getting ready to start another. We always have 2 or 3 where we're gathering parts to start.
Yeah.
I'm building a cool bike right now, but I got another one coming up. I'll give you a little peek on that one.
Cool.
It's an Ironhead Sportster lower end, 88 cubic inches, knucklehead heads and barrels, dual carbs, and I'm putting in a digger frame, 12-spoke American mags with a slick on the back.
Oh, my God.
And electric start, 88 cubic inch. So it'll be putting out well over 100 horsepower with a knucklehead top end and the dual carbs.
Yeah.
So that's my next one.
Somebody told me this. I don't know if this is a rumor. This is a rumor, but they approached you to build Mickey Rourke's Evo first.
Well, I had that bike in my shop in Vegas.
The for Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man.
I had the real bike.
Can you pull that up, John?
The Marlboro bike, Chuck Zito ended up with that bike.
With that bike?
Yeah, the real one, because him and Mickey Rourke are friends, and I think him and Mickey had a disagreement, so Chuck ended up with the bike.
Yeah.
He might still have it because it was at my shop, and then we went down and put it on display at the House of Blues.
Okay, that's right. I remember seeing pictures of it.
Yeah, it was at the House of Blues.
Who built it?
I don't remember. Chuck had something to do with it. That's it right there.
Yep.
It was an FXR.
There's a lot of replicas of this one now.
But the real one was in my shop, and it was kind of ratty.
So if you're listening to this, Kurt Sutter, how about we remake this movie, man?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies, man.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
There was a few good movies back then.
That's it. I love the cards, the dead man hand on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
God, that's a pretty bike.
Yeah, I used to sit in my shop.
The hot girl at the end, you know?
Yeah, sit in my shop, and then it went to the Mirage.
It was at that Mirage, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had it on a glass display with Chuck Zito's stuff all over the place.
Yeah, I know that's toured
his
museums.
books and everything else. Yeah. But we took it down there. Chuck and I took it down there.
Well, that's
and I think Chuck's got it again.
He does.
I think I'll call him and ask him.
Yeah, call him and ask him for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'll do is maybe I can get him on your show.
Fuck.
I might be able to put that together.
What fuck?
Yeah, I'll look forward to that.
Okay.
He's really, really good on podcasts.
Well, right now, if I die tomorrow, Mondo, and this is the last episode of the show, this is all we ever wanted to happen was to have you on, my friend. We look up to you in a way that you don't understand.
Well,
especially here in Reno, where we're all Reno biker kids. You know, we look up to you, my friend. You know,
well,
and I mean that with my bottom of my heart.
To me, it's not deserved, but I'll take it. And
truly,
just the pure fact that you guys are going to keep it going. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You know, is the legacy and. I come to the shop. I got stories galore. Stories after stories after stories. Come on, Saturday. That bike on the top right. That bike was in Street Chopper magazine, 1970. That's how far back that bike. And I molded the frame. And on one side of the frame, it's peaked of the legs.
Yep.
The other side is square legs. This side is got peaks on the gas tank. The other side is square, and it's painted different on both sides. I bought that bike. It was a 67 Shovelhead. I bought it as a dresser, took it right over to Butch's house, tore it down, and got a straight leg frame and built that.
Yeah.
And we had out behind Butch's garage, we had a big pile of stock old parts off these bikes. Baggers would throw the front ends out there, the bags. The only thing would keep out of them was the motor and trans, and everything ended up in a great big pile out in back of his garage. It must have been as high as his garage, all the parts. Just think about what those parts would be worth now.
I was going to ask you, what do you think the most valuable build you've ever done is?
This one sold. This one, I went out drinking with the guys, and that bike was in Denver's shop along with one of his bikes on another bike.
Yeah.
We went out drinking. I came back from lunch out drinking. We're Saturday, so we went across the street to Bob and Bernie's Brandon Iron, me and Freddie and the guys, and we always went out to drink and had a hamburger. And we come back. I go, Denver, where's my bike? And he goes, I sold it. And I go, oh, what? And he goes, yeah. He says, I sold 3 of them. Some hippie from Frisco come in with a shopping bag full of money. And I said, I got big money for your bike. I got $2,500. And that bike was featured in 2 or 3 different magazines. That one right there. Wow. And I says, 25, really? That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's like selling a bike for $100,000 now.
Now, yeah.
But Denver sold the bikes, and then I just started another bike the next week.
There you go.
Another time I was over there drinking. I came back and I had a really nice 66 El Camino. It was painted and lowered and all that. I go, Denver, where's my El Camino at? And he goes, I traded it. I go, oh my God, what do you do now? Threw me the keys to a 64 Corvette Stingray.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many bikes do you think you've built in your life?
Oh, I have no idea. A lot of them.
Some guys will spend a whole life building one car.
Yeah, that's true.
It seems like it. You know, the last car I built, the Gasser, it took me 7 years to build it, and the car before that took me about 6. They're both at my shop right now, but it's a labor of love, and I have to do it when I'm not building bikes. I have to sneak over there on Sundays and work on them, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not cheating. But
yeah.
One more quick one. Another time, Denver always used to do that to me, you know, trading stuff. So we were drag boat racing. We were in the same class, and he used to always beat me because he had newer and better boat than I did. So I asked, you beat me because you got the better boat. So I went down to the shop one day, and it was the day before we were going drag racing, and we always go to the boat shop and get our boats out and uncover them and get them ready to take to the races. I go, Denver, where's my boat? And he goes, he threw the cover off it, and he goes, there's one just like mine. There you go, bitch. He says, that's your boat.
Wow.
And he had a brand new drag boat sitting there with me, for me. He says, now you can't complain.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me as a gift because we're brothers.
Yeah.
He says, what's mine is yours and yours is mine. There's a new boat. And the other one was gone.
Did you beat him?
Yeah, I finally beat him. And he said, and in fact, I red lit to beat him. And he says, you cheated, you left before the light. And I go, yeah, but it sure looked good at the end with being in front of you. And he says,
yeah,
because that's all he used to always tease me about that. He says, it doesn't matter, just as long as you're there before the other guy. It doesn't matter how you get there. And I had to cheat to beat him, but I beat him, so I just threw it in his face, and he was all mad. He said, I got the video. You want to see the video? I was the one that crossed the line first,
right.
The quarter-mile line. So we always had fun, poking each other like that. Well, and we used to always park our race trailers next to each other. So I'd go in there and steal his props, and he'd come over and steal some of my stuff.
Yep.
I mean, he'd give me a motor if I wanted. If I blew up a motor, he'd give me a motor out of the trailer or whatever I needed. He'd go, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting a B drive, or I'm always changing some props and stuff. And he'd just go shake his head. Yeah, all right, because we were together, you know, and that's a brotherhood that I really miss. Gerald and I have that relationship, and that's why he's so close to me. And I'm grooming him to take it over when I'm gone. And
Shane, who's in Idaho now?
Yeah. He's with me all the time.
Fuck. His bikes are amazing.
Well, he worked there at the shop here.
No, I knew that. And then
now,
then he started his own for a little while.
Yeah, and I see him all the time. He went to the drag races with it for Moso.
Yeah.
And Aaron's building a funny car right now.
Yeah.
And I think Shane might be the one driving it.
There you go.
So we're all together. Shane and I and Aaron still run together.
I love looking at his bikes, man.
Yeah, he builds some nice stuff.
Yeah. And cars too, man. Fuck.
Yeah. And we're into the drag cars real heavy. And as soon as Aaron gets that funny car done, he's working on it now.
Yeah.
We'll all be out at the track together doing what we do.
Yeah. Well, if you want to see Mondo, the biggest little bike show is May 16th. Also go swing by Mondo's shop and just go look on a Saturday, man. It's like a museum. You won't quite be able to understand unless you go look at it with your own eyes, man. And May 16th is the biggest little bike show. We got a chopper class, club style class, biggest little bike show at Slabsides Motorcycle Shop. Also, Slabsides is giving away a 2021 Lowrider S.
Wow.
Yep. It's go buy a T-shirt or a hat, and every dollar you spend is an entry to win. It's going to have all the tasteful bells and whistles on it, as well as G-brake rotors, just a Nevada bike. It's one of the first Northern Nevada bike giveaways of its kind, and as far as I can ever remember, it's going to be a cool little show, and that'll be on display at Slabsides May 16th as well. Like I said, Mondo, it's been an absolute fucking pleasure and an honor to have you on this show, man. Your history has and will live on, even if I got to go do it myself.
Well,
man,
I appreciate that. Every article I do in the magazines, I always talk about Denver. There's always a picture of Denver and the history of Denver. That's my goal in life, is to tell the history of the man, and I will take that to the grave with me. Yeah. One last thing on this picture of this bike. I remember when I was looking at it, Freddie and I built two bikes at the same time. That real long one, there's a picture of Freddie on a real long bike. And those handlebars came off shopping carts. We went and stole a couple of shopping carts. And that's how we made the handlebars on those bikes.
That's how you build a fucking bike.
Yeah. And the front wheel on that's off a Honda 90.
Yeah, is there a preference these days, spoke to mag?
I always like spokes.
You do?
Yeah,
I'm a mag guy.
Yeah.
Spokes are tight.
I guess I'm wrong.
Unless I like the 12-spoke old racing car mags that I put on the bikes, because those are period correct. But yeah, I was sitting here looking at a Honda wheel and stole the. Because back then you couldn't, like I said, you couldn't go anywhere to buy parts, so you had to make them. So we looked at a shopping cart one day, and there's our handlebars. So we built 2 sets. And wow. I think there might be a picture in there, that real long bike of Freddie riding it. And he got drunk and he rode it into Bass Lake. And not the blue one, it was similar to blue one, but longer. But anyway.
Wait, go up. Is that Robert's FXR? Right there at the.
That's mine.
That's your FXR?
Yeah.
That's a pretty one.
That was it's hand built. It's not a Harley. I built everything on it's Chopper Guy's frame.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
There you go. I like that fairing. I've never seen that fairing.
I made it myself.
There you go.
But
yeah,
I don't see it. But anyway, I'm honored to have been able to spend this time with you, and I thank you guys so much for listening to my boring stories.
No, there's nothing boring about it, man.
And
we appreciate you, man. There's something I want to build here pretty quick. I think that something that nobody's done is a casino theme chopper that kind of encapsulates Reno. You know,
I built a couple of choppers for casinos.
Yeah,
you know, but yeah.
Are you talking? There's one. Oh, where is it? What's that casino?
Down in Vegas.
Right, but what's the casino?
Danny Couts Custom.
Yeah. Some of those are badass.
From the Count's Cars?
Yeah, Danny's a good friend of mine from Vegas. We used to go to lunch together 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah. You like it up here more?
Well, my family's here. You know,
Right.
my grandson's here. My family's here. And as you get older, you slow down. And I don't drink and I don't go out at night. So this is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm living the dream. I never work a day in my life.
That's right.
I'm building hot rods and motorcycles, drag boats. And so I've been blessed. My next life, I want to come back as me again.
There you go, Mondo.
Change a couple little things, but no, I'm happy.
Well, it means the world that you're here. Thank you so much, Mondo.
All right, I'll see what I can do about hooking you up with Chuck.
There you go.
All right, man.
We'll see you at the bike show.
All right.
All right, be safe.
Thank you. God bless you.
Yep.
Come on!